If you could be any superhero, what superpower would you want to have? I bet you're thinking about it, aren't you? Well, growing up, believe it or not, this was something my friends and I would think about a lot. We'd get really excited, and we say things like, I want to fly like Superman, or I want to be able to read 10,000 words a minute, as our parents started to listen in. My answer, though, was always consistent. I want to make people laugh. At this point, you might be wondering, how's that a superpower? I would argue that it is. Growing up, my father was a professional comedian. And I was always fascinated because he could get away with pretty much anything. You can ask my mom. I wanted to be just like him. As it turns out, I'm in business school, so that didn't quite work out. But I learned an even bigger lesson, that humor can actually teach us serious lessons about how we can better relate with each other. Lessons I didn't quite set out to learn. In fact, my dad didn't set out to be a comedian either. 20 years ago, he moved back from the United States to his home country, Ghana, after studying acting in the United States. It was a pivotal time in Ghana's history. For the first time, we had democratic elections after 2 decades of a military dictatorship. It was a time of a lot of excitement, a lot of hope, but yet that necessary dose of skepticism that newly democratized countries tend to have. And my father could be pretty stubborn when he was convinced of an idea. And he was convinced that the only way this new democracy would work is if we talked openly about what was not working. So to make his point, he goes onto radio, and of course, the first thing he does is publicly criticize the government. As you can imagine, that didn't go down too well. Public reaction to him was intense. His car was vandalized, people wrote him some pretty creative hate mail, and the sponsors actually pulled out from the show, labeling him as overly controversial. Fast forward a couple years later, he returns to his first love, which is acting. So he performs in his first one-man play, originally set out to be a drama, but the audience actually ended up laughing so much that it was written about as one of Ghana's best comedy plays of all time. And that is how he became a comedian. Why am I telling you the story? It's because in that play, he spoke about the exact same issues he used to talk about on radio. This time, though, people drive more than 5 hours, line up, and pay just to listen to him. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of humor. That is why I think it's a superpower, and that is why I wanted to be just like him. This fascination with the power of humor stayed with me through the years, and I actually ended up working in the industry. I worked as a producer for a comedy show. I learned some pretty hard lessons very quickly. The most important being, I'm not funny. In fact, when I told my brother that I wanted to make people laugh for a living, he goes quiet for a minute, looks at me and says, I've laughed a lot because of you. Does that count? So I took a different approach. And I sought to understand what it was about humor that enables us to let our guard down and connect so instantly. And what I found through my research and my work is that the magic of humor is that it's unexpected. In fact, our brain works with pattern recognition. So basically, when you hear a story, you subconsciously try to autocomplete it. But when the story goes in a different direction, we experience this rush from the surprise factor. Humor works because we delight in the unexpected when it's coming from a good place. Research shows that our brain's pleasure center actually is far more reactive to experiences that are both pleasurable and unexpected than experiences that are simply pleasurable. It's the reason why surprise wedding proposals work so well, most of the time. But how does this connect us? Well, think back to the last time you laughed. Hopefully that was a few minutes ago. Think about how you felt towards the person that made you laugh. When we experience this rush, our brain captures and holds that emotional memory, so the next time we meet again, we associate this positive memory with the person and warm up more quickly. In other words, if you make a guy or girl laugh on the first date, you're probably gonna get a second one. So we know how humor connects and affects us. But not all of us can be professional comedians, try as we might. And as I've learned to ask myself in business school, how do we apply this framework of using unexpectedness to delight each other? Better yet, how do we scale its effect in our everyday life? And I'll tell you a quick story that helped put it all together for me. A couple years ago, I lost a bet to one of my good friends, Sarah. And like all our bets, I had to buy her lunch. And so I'm standing in line, I've put in my order, I'm ready to pay, and to my embarrassment, I've left my wallet again. And then the weirdest thing happened. A guy walks from behind me, swipes his credit card, pays for our entire meal, and walks away before I can even say thank you. And I'm standing there completely surprised, but also delighted. And over the years, with similar experiences, and as I've tried to pay it forward, I've come to realize that yes, we can delight each other in small, unexpected acts of kindness. Think back to the last time that you received words of encouragement from a friend you hadn't heard from in a while, or a friend you just made. Or a time a complete stranger let you have that first parking spot. That may be a little too much to ask in this city, but hopefully you get my point. We can all tap into what makes humor a superpower by going a little out of our way each day for the people around us. Even if it's as simple as turning to the person next to you and saying something thoughtful. You look nice today, Yuban. In this world, we're often encouraged to think big, to think of impact in terms of touching the next million or billion lives. Yet in our own personal lives, we think we're touched by individual moments and individual people. So my challenge for you today is to think small, but make it unexpected. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Thank you.